Okay,
I think this would be fun. Welcome everybody to All About Voice 2020. Europe's largest voice conference has become digital. Great to have you here. If you haven't already, please let us know in the chat, where are you tuning in from? Which part of the world, which city? Let us know in the chat right now. We are so happy to see so many familiar yet new people joining us. Let's make that a great morning, afternoon, or evening for you. Dominik, could you please provide our audience, especially the new faces, with some background of All About Voice?
Of course, we have some history over the past years. Our last two editions in Munich were a celebration of experts from different nations, different backgrounds, and with different perspectives. We all gathered in one place for one full day of knowledge exchange, openness, knowledge sharing, and socializing over lunch or at the party with a beer. We as hosts are happy and humbled to have attracted so many people for the whole day to come to Munich. We are proud to have grown to Europe's largest voice conference. We share so many memories of openness, kindness, and happiness during our last two editions. I won't be the first one to tell you this year is different. A pandemic is trying to lock us down. But today, we are all here together to fight this from happening. We try to focus on a new normal, adapt our concept, and use the advantages this situation has for us. That's why we created All About Voice Club, a 100% digital event series.
Exactly. And we are convinced that digital events can work. Yes, they work differently, but they let us turn downsides of in-person events into advantages of remote events. No one has to travel. No one is away from the family. Everyone from all over the world can join us, and we can attract more diverse speakers without budget constraints. Some key success factors for our digital event series are: one specific theme for each event. Today, it's kids entertainment and voice. We want to keep talks and sessions very, very brief and short. We know how hard it is to keep focus in hours of Zoom meetings each day. And we want to foster exchange between the speakers and the participants. All About Voice Club is not a single event. It's a series of events dedicated to voice. And you are already part of the first format, the virtual meetup. Happy to welcome you. The second pillar is Meet the Expert. Here we will invite experts from around the globe for an in-depth conversation about a certain aspect of voice. This can be a specific use case, industry, or case study. You can listen live and ask your questions. And we will announce the first Meet the Expert very, very soon. Third is Voice Insights. And here we will organize invitation-only workshops or design sprints. Okay, guys, you are currently attending a free event, and we want you to give something back. On an in-person event, you would post a nice picture of the location or a selfie with someone you just met. Help us to spread the word into the visual world. Post a selfie in front of your computer right now and share it on your socials. I will do it right now as well. Okay, so let me take a selfie with you guys. Great, and I will post this on my socials very, very soon. And don't forget to use a fancy hashtag. Before I can give you an overview of the agenda of tonight, please let me first introduce you to the team behind the scenes of this virtual meetup. You know already Dominik's and my face, maybe. We are the co-founders of 169 Labs, and we will try to guide you through tonight's event. Here at 169 Labs, our daily business is to help companies leverage voice technology. Anna, and that's not a copy-paste mistake. They are working with us at 169 Labs, and tonight they are happy to help you with your questions regarding Hopin, and they will also collect the questions for our speakers. So during the lightning talks, you can ask questions and they will collect them, and the speakers will answer the questions right after their presentations in the breakout sessions. So please feel free to heavily use the chat and show your appreciation by using the clap icon or whatever emoji that expresses your current feelings. Okay, so back to our event. Here is the agenda for tonight. We will start with 4 lightning talks of our 4 speakers. As I mentioned, we want to keep them short to let you have individual conversations with our speakers. And that will happen in the sessions afterwards. And each speaker has its own session. Networking is really, really fun at Hopin. Have you tried it already, maybe during the DJ session? You definitely should. In the networking break latest, you will get randomly connected for 3 minutes to someone else who's also using the networking feature. So it's a chat roulette-ish experience there. And if you want to deepen the conversation, you can exchange your contact details during these 3 minutes. Okay, before we start with our lightning talks, some important housekeeping rules brought to you by Dominik.
Yeah, our goal here at All About Voice is to foster a diverse community. People with different backgrounds share their knowledge and experience. I truly believe new knowledge is only created by openness by everyone. We encourage you all, no matter which background you have, no matter if you are a beginner or expert in the voice field, to participate in the discussions. Contribute with your expertise, your experience, and your opinion. Pay close attention when 2 people disagree. I think that's the point where innovation happens, when 2 people disagree in a conversation. We encourage you all to disagree, but disagree within boundaries. We have a code of conduct that you should follow, please. If you or others are offended in the chat, you can always report someone using the flag button in Hopin, or you can send an email to info@allaboutvoice.io and we try to solve the issue for you. This whole event wouldn't be possible without our sponsors and cooperation partners. And we are really thankful to have MedienNetzwerk Bayern at our side. They have been a long-term supporter of us, supporting us from the very first event on. So please welcome on stage Lukas from MedienNetzwerk Bayern.
Hey, thank you, Dominik. Hey, voice community out there in the world. Yeah, it's a big pleasure for us, for the MedienNetzwerk Bayern, the media network in Bavaria here, to be here and partnering the All About Voice conference, even in the digital format. Why we are here. The voice is one of the big things, you can say, even in the media industry. Interactive storytelling, make your brand sound, voice marketing. These are just a few keywords which are important. And of course, the today's focus on kids entertainment is important for media producers too. It's a big question how to reach this special target group, and voice can be one answer of it. Yeah, what we are doing as a MedienNetzwerk, as an organization which is supported by the Bavarian state, The MedienNetzwerk Bayern connects players in the media sector in Bavaria within, but also without the industry. Recent examples for it are connections between the automotive and the radio industry, for example. And to give you an example of what we are doing, I will tell you what I am doing within the MedienNetzwerk Bayern. I'm responsible for strategic relations to the audio industry. I analyze the latest developments in the audio and world and the impact on radio stations and audio producers here in Bavaria. And then we look how to deal with that together at events, workshops, discussions, and so on. And why we are partnering with the All About Voice, as I said, voice is one big thing, not just in the audio market, but for the whole media industry. And as the MedienNetzwerk Bayern, we are very happy to have one of the most important events in the world of voice takes place here in Bavaria, and the great guys from 169 Labs are doing their great work here in Bavaria too. So that's a pleasure for us. What we are going to do in the next virtual meetups is we want to show you some great voice innovations from Bavaria, so you can get a clue on what the voice enthusiasts here are working at. I would say stay tuned for that. Okay, that's it from me. I want to thank you, Dominik and Tim, and the whole team of the 169 Lab for organizing this digital event so that we don't have to do without the great All About Voice conference this year. And now, have fun and good insights. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas, so much for supporting our event, and very looking forward to the next event where you will present something, an innovation from Bavaria or something like this. Okay, perfect. So see you in a minute.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, it's time to take a deep breath right now. Wherever you are, for us, it's currently coffee time. So take a sip of your coffee or your maybe drink or your lemonade. I will do this right now. And I am super happy to introduce you to our speakers for tonight. We are more than happy that all of them have certainly a different business background. So you will learn a truckload on how to leverage voice or voice technology for kids-directed user experiences. And at this point, I don't want to tell you too much. So I will now hand it over to our speakers. And I would kindly ask to come on stage from San Francisco, California, Caitlin from Creativity Inc. Are you with us? Let us know.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, nice to see you. How are you doing today?
Doing very well. Thank you so much for putting together this awesome event. You really pepped us up with the music.
Great, thank you. And seeing you in a minute for your presentation. West Coast alert number 2, Seattle, Washington. Please welcome Matt from Novel Effect. Please say hello to us.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Tim, for having me here. Looking forward to it. And I agree with Caitlin. I need to bring the DJ to our company stand-ups on a daily basis, because that just sets the right mood for everything.
I will get you in touch with him. So you can follow him on socials at deephousecat or dhcat.com. He's releasing an hour of a podcast every week with hosted by himself or other different DJs. So Matt, see you in a minute.
Yeah, thank you guys. Looking forward to it.
Great. And now we go 5,000 miles east to Munich, Germany. Please welcome on stage Isabel from Sevon.One Entertainment.
Hi, everybody. Great talk today.
Good to see you. Great. So see you in a second for your presentation.
Looking forward. Thank you.
Great. Super happy to have you. And finally, your first speaker for tonight. We go back to the States. Welcome, Sarah from Matchbox.io, based out of Washington, DC. Sarah. Hey, good to see you.
Hi.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Tim. Thanks so much.
Yeah, great to see you. And I would love to hand it over to you right now to do your lightning talk, and please introduce yourself. Okay, perfect. So enjoy.
All right, thanks, Tim, and hi, everyone. So today I'm going to talk about 3 lessons we've learned at Matchbox.io. Hopefully I can help you avoid some of the trials and errors that we've gone through while designing voice experiences for children. So first, before we dive into those lessons learned, I want to tell you a little bit about Matchbox. So we're the creators of some of the most popular voice experiences on Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, and Samsung Bixby, with millions of users around the world in dozens of countries and in 4 different languages. So our portfolio includes 19 voice experiences in 4 main categories that you can see there. There's games, education, wellness, and utilities. So today I'm going to discuss our kids voice applications, and specifically I'll use Kids Quiz, Animal of the Day, and Animal Rescue as examples. So the 3 lessons I want to share with you today may seem pretty straightforward, but speaking from experience, they're very easy to overlook for both developers and for designers. So the first one we'll talk about is to make the content age appropriate, like truly age appropriate. The second one is to create a clean design. And then the third that we'll talk about is anticipate kid-specific errors. So let's dive into these one by one. So the first is to write age-appropriate content. It's easy to say that a voice experience is designed for, ages 5 through 12, but it's important to remember that a 5-year-old is very different from, say, an 8-year-old, who is very different from a 12-year-old, right? How they understand the world, how they process information, their brains are all very different. So what you create for each age group should also be different. So for a little background, we designed Kids Quiz as an educational experience to help children learn more about the world, and we do this through questions and answers. Originally, we had as one of our questions this question for ages 5 through 12. During which of the 4 seasons does it get the hottest outside? Is it summer, winter, or spring? Well, there are a few things that can be improved with this, right? So the first one, during beta testing, we realized that the question itself is just too long for a smart speaker. So we changed it to when is it hottest outside? That just works better for a smart speaker. Then if you ask a 12-year-old this question, when is it hottest outside, summer, winter, or spring? They'll kind of stare at you and wonder if this is a trick question in some way, right? But if you ask a 5-year-old this question, it'll make them think, but most of them will be successful with this kind of question. They'll be able to answer. So this content is really better for 5 or 6-year-olds, but not for the full age range. Another example is this question. What's something that most people can't do? Smell a flower, lick their own elbow, or go to sleep? So in beta testing, one 5-year-old got this question and shrugged her shoulders and said, I don't know what people can't do. I thought, this is a wise child, right? Touché. So this content really is more appropriate for slightly older kids. It'll make them think, they'll have some fun with it, but most of the older kids will be able to figure out the answer. So our second lesson learned is to create a clean design. This goes for experiences for adults as well, of course, for the entire age range from kids to adults, but it's particularly true and helpful for children. So shorter is better in content, as we just saw, where we shortened that one question. And it's also important in design flow. You want to avoid giving too many options. At Matchbox, we learned to give children a pretty direct path. In Kids Quiz and Animal of the Day, the child chooses their topic or their level for the day, and then boom, they're into the experience. They're off and running. In Animal Rescue, the child chooses the animal they want to save, and then every few minutes, they're given 2 choices in the story. Do they want to do this or do they want to do that? but that's it. There aren't multiple layers to sort through. For the child, it doesn't get complicated or confusing. So what this means is that they won't hear choose from panda, turtle, tiger, ostrich, or lobster, or to hear more options, say more options. That's just too much, right? Even for adults, let alone a 7-year-old. So we aim to provide 1, 2, or maybe 3 choices and then get moving along in the experience. Our third lesson learned is anticipate kid-specific errors. And this is my absolute favorite lesson learned. This is a lot of fun, actually. So as many of you know, right now, voice recognition on smart speakers for children around age 6 and younger isn't as great as it is for older children and for adults. It's getting better every day. The technology is moving very quickly, but right now at this point in time, it's just not optimal for young children. Well, one day we deployed new content for Kids Quiz, and I was watching some of the errors come in, and I noticed that child after child was being misunderstood by the smart speaker as saying, "Ask me not," when they answered a specific prompt. So 5, 6, 7-year-olds across the country, again and again, were being misunderstood and asked to repeat themselves when the smart speaker thought they said, "Ask me not." So I was really puzzled by this and looked into this. And I checked the prompt, and the prompt was, what do you call someone who goes into outer space? Is it a farmer, a teacher, or an astronaut? So child after child was actually answering astronaut, but the smart speakers thought they were saying, "Ask me not." So this was a huge realization for us. And now we use a lot more synonyms and alternative acceptable responses. And what's more, and actually what's super fun, is that when we're writing for young children now, we actually say the possible responses out loud in a young child's voice to hear what other words might sound like. So you can actually try this at home in your best child's voice and take a look at this list. These are actual examples of where a child was responding to one of our voice apps, but the smart speaker misheard them. So the first one there, we just talked about astronaut. The smart speaker thought they were saying, "Ask me not." Next one, fish. A child was very excited. They knew the answer to a question and they said, "Fish, fish." But the smart speaker thought they were saying physicist or winter, wind care, right? Goose, Zeus, librarian, life brain. So in each of these instances, and in hundreds more like them, we added a lot of acceptable answers that sound like the word that we're looking for. And we also improved our algorithms to allow for a greater range of synonyms. So this way, no matter how the child pronounces the word, they'll have a successful experience with this. So try it at home. Get your best 5-year-old voice and try that at home. All right, so those are 3 of the lessons that we've learned here at Matchbox. So thanks for joining today. I can't wait to chat with everybody in the breakout sessions in just a few minutes. In the meantime, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Gutekunst. Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you for passing over everything and for sharing all this knowledge. It's so great. It's our second one together.
That's right.
So I'd like to take some time to talk about what I'm calling the shift from silly stories to tangible toys and this evolution of voice-first products for kids. We're still somewhat early in the adoption phase for voice to become a major consumer movement, but it's really taken off, especially because of COVID and kids' accelerated use of technology with their families in the home. So I'd really like to talk about this moment and how it's going to be driving adoption and putting extra focus on the way that families use tech. So I'll talk about this evolution. I'll highlight a few examples from the Creativity Inc.'s portfolio, and I'll discuss a few challenges about discoverability and marketing to kids, which are very unique. Let me start by introducing myself first. I lead marketing and business development for Creativity, which I will introduce a little bit further in a few slides. My background, I have 12 years of experience in marketing for kids' entertainment properties in the toy industry, working across brand marketing, strategic partnerships, and consumer product development for brands like Thomas & Friends, Leapfrog, Barbie, Disney, Playmobil, Moshi Monsters, and more. I want to echo something that Dominik did a great job talking about before. I really believe community and sharing ideas is super important to promote innovation, especially in the kids industry. I got involved with digital and apps pretty early in my career and noticed that there are unique challenges to marketing to children, especially in digital platforms. And I think it's important for people to collaborate even if they're viewed competitors, in order to retain talent in the kids industry and to promote sustainable development and have diverse representation at the content creator level and inventor level. So to support that mission, I'll quickly plug a few of the communities that I am part of. I sit on the board of Women in Voice, and also Women in Toys and our launch summit there, which is for inventing toys. I also work on some standards with the Consumer Technology Association, have a meetup group in the Bay Area called Digital Kids, and fostering a new voice hub for the Good App Guide, which will help drive discoverability in the voice industry. So please, let's connect and let's do some great work together, all of us. And now I'll launch into the slides. So when the pandemic came into our world in March earlier this year, it changed everything. I do a lot of consumer insight research, and you look at the slides from like December and it's like, out. We're starting over for March. It's really important for people building content for this generation to think about how the pandemic is going to affect kids' lives and the way they experience the world. Of course, some positives, but also some negatives. So you think on the positive side, it's really helped bring families together and encourage more togetherness moments, which is very positive. On the negative side, kids have lost a sense of who they are, and they feel slightly less hopeful about becoming small adults. They're not playing sports or defining themselves as sporty. They're not, adopting the recorder or becoming this really chatty, fun social person. They've shifted a lot of their self-expression to digital channels like TikTok or messaging. And so their behavior is going to be different. And that's really important to think about how they use screens as well as voice and all these different modalities. But that said, the time that they spend together in the home is really driving up technology usage and adoption of new tech across the board. And smart speakers are one of these things. In recent polls, parents have indicated that they are more likely to buy a second or a third Echo or smart speaker for their kids so that they can have one in their bedroom and engage with this smart speaker in the home. So a real support from parents to drive this adoption. They don't have the same sort of tension in the home around this type of technology because it's not intermediating the family experience with a screen. So eye contact is maintained. And often these devices are in a shared place where parents can listen in on experiences and participate in those. And that's really important when you think about why there's less tension, why parents are supportive of it. There are also great learning experiences, and kids love to tell jokes. So that's really important when you're talking to brands or manufacturers of kids' products. They have concerns about tech and adoption and where we are in that adoption curve, but voice is already here for kids. They adopt it super easily, and they're really driving it forward. So I'm going to shift to talk a little bit now about where we are with that ecosystem and some things I've noticed from a business development perspective. Can we go to the next slide, Tim? So Creativity Inc. is a design studio that's been around for 20 years. We were founded to provide audio services, first for the toy industry, then adopted programming and engineering, and finally interaction design. We've worked on some of the biggest toys in global history. Tickle Me Elmo, Furby, tons of products from Spin Master, robots, app-connected products. Overall, we've shipped over 7,000 products and have contributed to 135 Toy of the Year nominations, which is like the Oscars of the toy industry. And many of these are driven by audio. So we have a deep experience with audio and 3 studios on site where we do casting and create sound effects and custom music for companies like Mattel and Disney and Sony, Fremantle, family in general. So when I started with the company 3 years ago, I noticed that we were still in an early phase when I'm talking to my partners. They were coming into voice saying, why is it important for me? And where are we in this adoption curve? And what I noticed is that it was really all about testing and trying to drive awareness and short campaigns. So I'll give an example of a few of these that we built in the early days for kids. We're finally getting to, I'll do that right now. So one of the first ones that we launched was called Strangest Day Ever, which is a really fun, quirky story on Google. And this one has been featured in many blogs. It has the benefit of being one of the earliest voice apps that launched for kids in early 2017. And right now we're actually seeing great numbers because of COVID to the tune of 300,000 monthly active users. That set the stage for us to partner with brands and to bring their products to life in new and interesting ways. And so the first really big one that we did was for Netflix with the launch of Stranger Things Season 2. In this one, we designed an experience where you can talk to all 4 boys through a walkie-talkie feature. So really thinking about the interaction with the voice assistants kind of creatively. And we created a trailer for this that has been seen over 10 million times, which is a huge number for the voice industry. We're now shifting to a phase where people are starting to say, okay, so I can get data, I can talk directly to my users, but how can I really harness that data and make it meaningful and drive monetization? And this is the time where you start to see the early innovators from a development perspective drop out. And this is the problem that I want us to solve as a community. How can we make sure that people are successful, that they're monetizing their apps, and they're able to stay and create really great experiences? And this is just one example. Disney Music, one of our great partners, was looking for a way to test this early in 2018 and to say, how can we maybe drive some more listens of our playlist and help people plug into our classic music library differently? So we created a quiz game that helps users play trivia around the Disney Music Library, and then they can go on to ask to hear the playlist. And that's driving more streaming revenue for Disney, which is a great benefit. Finally, as we look forward, one of the things that I'm super excited about is looking at the shift from voice as a marketing channel to voice as a product opportunity. And the reason being is because there's a tangible purchase related to that. The toy industry globally is about $91 billion. In the US, is about $300 billion. So this is a really great industry where people can get a part of that monetization and reach out to parents differently. So I'm excited to say that in the last few days, actually, Creativity has helped our partners, Jazzwares and KidCraft, launch 2 of the first Alexa gadgets, which are Bluetooth connected toys, which are voice powered and linked to a lockdown experience for the Amazon Echo that really enhances the kids' play experience. And if you meet me over in the breakout session later, I'd love to show some trailers on this and more data points from Disney and talk about some of the success that we're seeing from this. Lastly, I'll just go through a few quick hacks that we've learned over time. Sarah did a great job talking about all of this, but test your invocation with kids and make sure that they can remember what you're asking them to call up and that they can pronounce it. We ended up dumbing down a lot of our invocations just because kids could not pronounce them. Second, open up to the world. We opened some of our proprietary apps to additional locales, and it tripled our usage, which was amazing. In a great way to attract traffic, use built-in intents functionality so that when people ask for a general game, they can find your app more easily and it surfaces in search. When you're designing, really let kids drive the action. What's interesting about voice tech is the fact that they are the ones who are making choices, and those choices matter. So when you're designing your app, make it that way. Finally, we have had a lot of success with marketing on socials. Trailers are your friend. It shows people how to model behaviors and how to use your voice app. So definitely use socials. That's it for us. I'd love to see you in the breakout session and chat more. Please connect with me on LinkedIn or reach out to me by email. It's so great to meet everybody here. And with that, I'd love to introduce Matt Hammersley, the CEO of Novel Effects, to come and share an awesome demo.
Well, thank you so much, Caitlin. I really appreciate it and great job. It's fun to see so many cool things that you've been working on, and excited to see what comes out in the future here with the connected gadgets. So I'm Matt Hammersley, CEO of Novel Effect, and we are all about making reading magical for kids and their grown-ups. And unlike a lot of the speakers that you've heard today and that you'll hear, and most generally in voice, we are not on Alexa or Google. We actually are using, I think you might actually be here, keen research for kind of our own on-device speech recognition. So we actually have a mobile app And we have been gaining a lot of momentum and speed, especially during COVID. And our whole kind of focus is really about taking a fundamental look at voice and looking at it from a perspective of, I would really like to engage the family together. I don't really want my child, and I've got a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, to have a deep relationship with Alexa. I want her to have a deep relationship with me. And what I find fascinating about voice as a technology is how it can be used to enhance and promote our family engagements together, my communications with my daughter. And that's kind of how our product works and how it was designed from the get-go. So our products first started with voice interactive books, and listens as a parent or a child reads a book aloud, the physical print book, and knows where they are in the story, and then synchronizes music, sound effects, characters' voices, all in real time with that reading to promote that same story time family bonding environment. And I think we heard Sarah mention about how important it was that you are seeing each other's mouth moves, right? And it's kind of one of the advantages of Alexa and Google that, there isn't that screen that is breaking that interaction between you, but rather making it a possible for us to talk to each other. So one of the things that I'm going to talk about mostly today and in the breakout session is about how we can think about voice differently to promote that style of family engagement. And I want to show a demo. I love demos and I love live demos. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So we'll see how this goes. But I'm going to share with you one of our newest products coming out, which is voice interactive video and television. So I'm going to just share my screen right here. And hopefully you will hear the audio.
Tell me a story. Are we happily ever after?
Oh, hey, I'm Mina. My friends and I could use your help on an interactive adventure. When you see the speech bubbles at the bottom of your screen, read them out loud. Make sense? Go ahead, show us what you got.
So it basically waits for me to read, right, and to interact. It'll just loop here gently, and then you want me to read this line here?
Yeah, you got it. So remember, when you see the speech bubble, it's your turn to keep the adventure going. And don't forget the most important thing. Have fun!
And you could jump around, so I just fast forward a little bit to the next one. Check this out on our website at video.noveleffect.com, and you can hear a really fun theme song. But again, it's this modality of interaction where you have kind of a normal TV experience, and then the characters get to ask you questions, right? So think about it as like Dora the Explorer, but smart. So, wow, you're all monsters?
We prefer monster heroes.
So that's a little demo of kind of what our voice interactive video and television product is going to look like. And super excited about this. It's going to be on cable boxes, on Apple TVs, Fire TVs, on web, on mobile, kind of you name it, it'll be there. And we're working with some of the biggest and best kids in media producers to create this kind of new style of interactive content. We also have like choose your own adventure and things like that, and branching stories that goes along with this technology. But I think it's totally cool. And one of the things, again, that I focus on is how we promote family engagement. And one thing that I want to share with you now is there's two different realms, right? You have the Alexa and the Google system, which is a conversational voice interface, right? It's a question and answer, cue and response. That's one style. What we look at and where we think that a lot of power is in what I call an ambient voice experience. So these are ones where you're not on the clock. You're not having to talk directly to the device in order to get things to happen. And we know that a lot of times these fall down for kids because they stutter, they wait, maybe they don't say things in the right time, and the smart speakers interpret them differently. So we kind of think that this ambient voice nature opens up the door to really promoting that interpersonal reaction and family engagement. And so with our book product, for example, you know, and as you saw here with the video, you can go off script. You don't have to wait for, you know, it to understand you right there. You can talk to each other. You can discuss the options that are before you. You know, if you're reading a book together, you can talk about what's on the page. So there's less pressure, and that lack of pressure in as far as having to be on with the response with an Alexa or Google device really makes these a very unique style of experiences. So what I want for the audience is to really challenge you to think a little bit more outside of the box when it comes to voice and voice tech. It's not just Alexa and Google. You can do other things. It's not just smart speaker. You can be on mobile. You can be on television. And the technology is getting closer and closer. So I'd encourage you to look at some of the other opportunities that are out there to build these voice-connected products. And like I said, we use Keen Research, which is a very good on-the-device speech recognition system that you can tailor and really do a lot of different cool things with. So that's kind of what we utilize, and we're really all about privacy too. And that being on the device and kind of a closed ecosystem for kind of the voice stack is really important for families and for education. So I hope you have the opportunity to join my breakout session. We'll go in a little bit more detail about different types of voice experiences that we're working on and we're creating, and how we're opening up kind of our platform to content creators as well. So really appreciate being here today, and I look forward to turning it over to Isabel Suttner.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Thank you, Matt, for the nice handover. I really enjoyed your talk, and I really like the idea of creating like new family experiences, like moving the voice technology from being rather a one-on-one medium than a family medium. I really like that, and will definitely try out some products of yours. My name is Isabel, and I work at Sevon.One Media, one of the leading media companies in Germany, and I'm leading the digital product innovation team there. And today I want to talk about how to design immersive voice apps for kids, meaning how to develop voice apps that kids really want to play with every single day and spend like hours with it. And two core aspects I would like to shed light onto are the play and the character design. So with ProSiebenSat.1, we gathered some experience in the voice technology space when we launched like a really full-fledged voice-first product with Maxi's Zeitreisen. So Maxi is a little girl that has built her own time travel machine in her backyard and really loves to travel around with that. And the kids have the opportunity to join her as a co-pilot and help her in her adventures. And so we took a really broad approach at that product and really saw it as a standalone digital product, and made some very interesting learnings on what it takes to build such an immersive kids app. So let's take a look at the Vivid Play design we took when we launched the application around 1.5 years ago. So what you see here is the basic structure that we took for the application. And we introduced two different activity levels within that voice application. On the one side, the time travel stories, and on the other side, the games. And those two categories are really distinct from each other when it comes to the interaction intensity and also the storytelling mode. The time travel stories are rather long stories with interactions like every 2 or 3 minutes, and the games are really like more leaning forward and really more interactive than the time travel stories. And the intention of launching that product with that two kind of activity levels was that we had a hypothesis that we could reach a pretty broad user base with that kind of diversified product approach, because it might be suitable to different situations throughout the days of the kids, and might be appropriate for different consumer types. So we implemented that, and we really saw that we reached three distinct consumer types with this product. So we could make a check mark behind the hypothesis that that application with the two different activity levels works pretty well. But what we found out is that the hybrid users that are using both time travels and games pretty heavily are for us the most valuable customer group, because they have used the product 3 to 4 times more often, and also the usage times was 3 to 4 times higher than the time travel or the game heavy users. So we were thinking about of how we could make more users to those hybrid users, because they would be more valuable to our product. And the idea was that we could try out to make this happen by implementing an overall gamification system that would connect all those the two different activity modes, the time travels and the games. And so we started to enrich the time travels with interactive questions at the end of each time travels, and we also added specific level structure to the games to make it more adaptive to different skill levels of the kids. And furthermore, we added a crystal system, so kids would earn energy crystals they could use in their time travels when they answered the quiz question right, and when they advanced in the different levels, or just once they open the skill once every day. And once the kids earned some energy crystals, they would get promoted to co-pilots of Maxi. And the more advanced you will get as a co-pilot, you will get access to the secret logbook stories that Maxi tells you. So there's another third content category that we added here as a reward for the especially active kids here. Yes. And the secret logbook is built in a way that like each further chapter is unlocked once you will get advanced in a co-pilot rank, and each chapter is very has an open ending that serves as a cliffhanger to get the kids more excited, that they want to know how the story actually continues. So that was our idea of building the gamification system. And once we implemented it, we were really thrilled by the positive effect that had on the immersiveness of the voice application. It showed that the engagement of the customers increased by over 30%, and that also the retention increased by 2 percentage points. So that was a really, really great effect for us towards building an immersive voice app. And another aspect I would shortly like to shed light on is the unique characters. So we were thinking about, in a story-based skill, you will need a certain set of characters. Which kind of characters should be most active when talking to the kids, and which ones are more in the background? Because if you have too many characters talking to the kid, they might be it might be kind of confusing for a kid. And all these characters have a different activity level. You see here from active to passive. Active means that they will directly talk to the kid, and passive means they're more in the background. And from distant to friendly, it means like how close the characters are actually to the main character or to the consumers. And so Maxi is our main character that would be located in the upper right corner. So she's like the personal hero and is closest to all the consumers, and plays the main role in the communication with the kids. But on the other side, we wanted to maintain some flexibility and wanted to use the Alexa voice at some point. And from our point of view, it made total sense to integrate the Alexa voice into the story. So she became the board computer in our story, and that fitted pretty well to the overall time travel story. But Alexa doesn't play like an important role as Maxi does. And then we have some other characters here, like Maxi's friends and Maxi's mom and dad. They are not actively talking to the kids, but are still pretty close and kind of the friendly crowd around Maxi. And then we also created like an antagonist that's Maxi's neighbor, who's like creating a joint community feeling of all the other characters that they are against him. Yeah, so I think the right balance of characters is very important, and also not introducing too many characters. Overall, I would like you to take away 3 different things to think about in creating voice apps for kids. First, you could think about integrating different activity levels, because they might be suitable to a broader user base also throughout the day. Second point is that an overall gamification system might significantly drive the engagement of your voice app, and that a right balance of characters is really essential to be thought of right at the start. Yeah, thank you for listening. I'm very excited to get into further discussions with you in the breakout session. And we'll hand over to Tim. Thank you.
Mentioned, you can now join each speaker in their dedicated session if you want to learn more about certain aspects which they just highlighted in their presentations. You can switch between these sessions. You can also join the living room or the Women in Voice session as well. But I would highly suggest to join the speakers in their sessions and to speak to them, because in this virtual format, every one of us is as close as possible to the speaker and has the same barrier like everyone to get in touch with the speaker. So take a chance and get in touch with the speakers. We will now stop the broadcast on the main stage, and happy discussing in the sessions.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what I was after. And at a more kind of a basic level as well, things like time of day that people engage with. Do you get any of that sort of stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, all of that stuff.
Oh, why not? That's fine.
We don't bite.
I just like to hear what people. Yeah, we can. We don't bite.
And then we just try to let them go first, like explore the application by themselves as much as possible, and to learn more about it, they really understand how they connect.
So that's a good question, because it's a newer feature coming out that they can start to recognize if a kid is speaking. I actually really liked that was happening when I saw it announced in September. And what I'm speaking to is with the release of that.
Welcome back from the sessions. Hope you all made it to the main stage again to join us for the wrap-up and the closing of our first, the closing of the official part of our first virtual meetup. Welcome back from the sessions and the networking break we just had. Have you tried the networking feature? Let us know in the chat. Was it fun? Was it scary? Have you been connected to someone you already know or to some new faces? How was it? So I've joined every session, at least for a couple of minutes, and it has been great to see you joining our 4 speakers and the sessions. Now it's time to wrap it up. And let's hear from our speakers what the sessions turned up. Let me hand it over to Sarah once again, who will start the conversation and present her thoughts and maybe takeaways from her session.
Hey, yeah. So hi again, everybody. So I today showed me how much creativity is out there in the voice industry right now, particularly in working with children. There are so many great use cases that so many people are working on right now that I just met in our breakout session that go beyond cat fart of the day, right? That go beyond whatever, cat fart of the day or fart of the day or whatever. There's really in-depth educational experiences that are being designed that have been launched. You know, I talked with Kristen from Lavuba in our breakout session, and she's working with teachers and making educational experiences where children who are in the same class can participate in the same experience together. And Andre, of course, from 169 Labs has worked with Isabel on the voice experience that she mentioned. And Vittorio, who's working with publishers of children's books and making an enhanced experience for them. There's so many great things happening. So that's my main takeaway is that not all of the use cases have been explored yet. I think people are really pushing what can be done for children and to make really outstanding voice experiences for children. So bravo, everyone. This has been a really exciting day and I can't wait to learn more. I guess I'll pass this on to Caitlin. Hey, Caitlin.
Hey, Sarah. You bring up exactly what I was going to say in that there's just so many amazing people. Also some tough challenges that I think we can all solve as a community together. So we discussed just some people's attempts to create some new hardware products. As expressed in the chat, hardware is hard, and it can be a prohibitive barrier for sort of indie publishers or individuals to get out there and be able to launch products, because it's just, there's so much goes into the design and the manufacturing of voice control products. So how can we help there? How can we get new startups and new products out that are really engaging for kids? I think that's one thing that as a community we could help solve. The other one was just talking about some of the fun things that we've learned and how kids engage with voice apps, and also how you overcome some barriers to discoverability. Definitely for brands, it's a little easier to have that recognition when you're a Disney or a Stranger Things or a Wiggles, because kids see them, and even if they're not readers yet, they can resonate with that logo or that character and say, oh, I want to play with that. But there is also a lot of sort of dead weight in the app stores if you're just browsing and passively trying to discover new experiences as a consumer. And so as a community, I think we also need to rally to help each other out, to do video reviews and sort of like each other's stuff, because the whole industry will rise together if we're making so many great experiences that parents really believe in them and trust their kids to use these devices. So yeah, a lot of challenges, but things that we can all overcome as a community to empower new people to come into the market and really retain the talent that we have, which is so fantastic. Matt, do you want to share some of what you learned in your breakout sessions?
Yeah, thanks so much, Caitlin. Really appreciate it. And I'd say the one thing that I wish I could do was have joined your breakout sessions as well. But yeah, we had a fantastic time. What I took away, especially is there's a lot of desire to build content and to not think about the hard things of voice and not think about kind of maybe some of those complexities and focus on creating great content. And I think one of the things that I mentioned in my session was, at the end of the day, we're media businesses. everyone here who is doing something is creating media. And at the end of the day, in a media business, content is king. And it was really cool to hear from people in my session about all of the different ways they're thinking about content and what that means, from teens to kids to families to education. And that's what really excites me, is that, you know, we're just on the kind of tip of the iceberg of what is possible in content. Now that we have these infrastructures and platforms that'll let us create engaging voice experiences, now's the time to push the boundaries on content and what is possible. So that was a ton of fun, and I really appreciate kind of everybody taking part in the sessions, and kudos again to Tim and the 169 Labs team for putting this together. I am happy to turn things over to Isabel.
Hi again. Thank you, Matt, for handing over. Yeah, we also had a very interesting discussion that brings me to another topic that I didn't cover in the presentation so much, and that is like the consumer centricity, and that goes into the direction that if we want to create immersive voice apps for kids and want to really move the industry forward, we would always need to do this very close at the consumer, and this is for children sometimes a very challenging task, because the target group is, if it's not in your personal surrounding, very hard to reach. So the question that we raised and discussed was, how could we both from a qualitative kind of view, but also from a quantitative insight perspective, gain insights on how our voice applications will actually perform, and how kids will actually like them. And one aspect that we talked about is how to create a comfortable atmosphere where you could also invite kids and their parents from your colleagues, friends, and family into such testing surroundings to get really to really carefully try to derive some insights on how your voice applications are actually doing. And the other aspect was really highlighting the analytical part of understanding the consumer. So I think that's also a major part that has to be part of every voice application that we're building out there. How to build up a database that really gives some insights on how the application is doing out there. And I think this overall topic is very, very important, because otherwise we will not know on how the voice applications actually work for our consumers. So that was a really interesting topic, and we also touched upon the topic of monetization of such applications. And from our opinion, it's like that we are currently laying the foundation of monetizing such applications, because the value behind those applications and the engagement intensity and the engagement frequency will determine if there will be value for consumers that are willing to pay for in the future. So that was also a very interesting topic that basically is a key aspect of making that business model around a voice sustainable. So I really, really like the discussions, and would like to hand over to Dominik again for some final words. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel. So I think, like everybody, I learned so much today. I absolutely love the networking feature. 15 minutes hasn't been enough for me, so I really like to extend this next time we do this to 30 minutes, so I can connect with some more people than I did in this session. I think the biggest shout out should go to our speakers. They have given us so many valuable insights that they have learned during their work experience, and they shared openly with us. Thank you all for sharing your knowledge. Thank you all for your hours of preparations in your talks. Thank you all for joining us today and getting up so early. So please, in the audience, give them a clap in the chat at least, so they can see that you appreciate their work and their insights they have been given to us. So to thank again, we have some small surprises for our speakers, and I can tell you, and they go one by one. For Caitlin, she recently moved, and so we got her a voucher for her favorite coffee shop next door. So next time she gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning, she gets at least get a decent cup of coffee and join us for the sessions, and will be fully awake with the coffee. Thank you, Caitlin, for giving us the insights and joining us today. The next present we are giving away is for Isabel. Isabel is not only an expert in voice experiences, she's fiercely working on becoming the next Picasso or an artist, and doing art classes in her leisure activities. And so we are giving her some materials for the next painting she's doing, and hopefully this will be something that will be on display in an art gallery in the near future. Thank you, Isabel, for joining us today. Sarah, thanks for your insights. We know you're a foodist, and so we hope you can wind down with your loved ones at a favorite restaurant where your husband told us you would like to go in your neighborhood. So we have a voucher for you. Enjoy the evening, and do not think about voice technology. Focus on the food and the experience you have there while eating the food. Thank you, Sarah. And last but not least, Matt, you showed us in your talk that you love books and you're working with books. I think the only thing we can give you is a voucher for Barnes & Noble, so you can get the latest books there and enjoy having the books and reading them. Thank you very much for joining us, Matt. And that's for our speakers. I think this event wouldn't have been so much fun without the speakers. And one big part is as well the MedienNetzwerk Bayern, as I mentioned before. They have been really supporting us throughout every phase in our development. They were here in the first minute we came up with this event. We pitched them this virtual event, and they were on board without any question. And their support is really a lifeline for us and enables us to do more events like these. And I think they are real partners to work with them together and really enjoy the partnership and cooperation we have with them. We told you in the beginning, this is only the beginning of our event series. So this was our first event. So please help us to improve. We have put together a small survey. Please give us feedback, everything that you liked, everything that you don't like. And we will give away one Logitech webcam to one participant of this survey who will leave his email in the end of the survey. So the link to the survey will go into the chat, and thank you all for taking the survey and help us to improve. So Tim, what's next?
What's next on the long-lasting agenda of today's event? So yeah, from my side as well, thank you so much to all of our speakers, our partner, and yeah, please help us to improve the event, take part in the survey, win a very, very good webcam for your next Zoom calls, for our next event, maybe to share your audio and video on cam and on the stages. I want to thank as well some other guys, the guys from the IXDA community. IXDA is a global independent community of interaction designers. And these guys are currently questioning the state of remote events. And if you are interested to join this conversation to make virtual events better, because we are facing some more months where we cannot meet in person, join the conversation at ixda.no/fixremote-events. You're happy to contribute to leverage and to leverage voice or voice event, virtual events, but also to raise the bar and make better virtual events. So we are almost done with the first virtual meetup. You asked about the recordings. and I will tell you how you will get the recordings. Join our mailing list on allaboutvoice.io if you haven't already, and you will get them, and you will get also the invitations for our next events. And one you can already mark with a red pen in your calendar. It's December 17. It might be also to the left or right from your side, but somewhere here is the date for our next event. The topic is voice marketing. Perfect. So now, after the official part of our event, it's all about socializing, connecting to others, and get in touch with other voice enthusiasts, and also with some German representatives from the Women in Voice community. So I will definitely recommend you to join these sessions. Again, also navigate to the sessions tab once we finish the broadcast here on main stage, and join the living room. No topic dedicated, so feel free to chat there. Join the DJ booth again to listen to some funky tunes, and head over to the Women in Voice session and connect to these guys. It's up to you. You can deepen the conversation. Now, I would say, Dominik, we made it, right? Let's cheer on you for joining us today. Prost.
Prost, zum Wohl.
Cheers, and stay healthy, everyone. And we hope to see you soon for the next for our next event. Have a great
Thanks
rest
everybody for joining
us
today, and have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, rest of the evening, rest of the morning, with some beer maybe as well. But we'd love to see you soon. Bye.
Cheers.
You will meet us in the living room.